Alright guys, so I told you I was going to give you a little bit more instruction on this build video for this AVRO Lancaster version 3. And we have our PDF pulled up over here. And if I come in here and scroll down to the first step, it's basically going to show us the specs on this particular airplane, guys. Right here, so you can see all of that, and your battery for the plane that you'll be needing. So we'll pull back away from there, and let's see, scroll up, and the first thing they're going to ask us to do is to apply our clevises for our control horns. Now, I personally am not going to do that first, just because of the fact that I don't like doing that until I get my servos centered, and haven't done that yet. So what I'm going to do now is going to see what the second step is, and that's basically going in here and we'll be removing the paint from the elevator halves and from the rear of the fuselage where the elevator will sit and go through here. So I'm going to take these out, and we'll go in here and remove the paint from those. So hang on and we'll get started on that. All right, so we're going to take this out. And as you can see where this goes into the fuselage here, guys, you can see that we need to remove the paint in here and we need to remove the paint around here. And in order to do that, I will be taking some clear packing tape, tearing off a piece, and I'm going to apply it right around where this went into our fuselage. Press it on good. Get that good and stuck all the way around in here. And then I'm going to be peeling this off. And in doing that, what you can see is it's giving me a perfect line here, guys. And you can't ask for better than that. And we're going to flip it over. And we're going to do the same thing here. So we're still using our tape, so we're not wasting any. And I'm going to line this up and do the same thing here. Press it on really nicely there so that it peels up. And then we're just going to kind of get that started and go all the way around. And there you go. And there's a little bit in here, so I'm going to just give that a little stick. Pull that loose a couple of times. And yeah. Just gets it all cleaned up really nicely. So that'll stick really well when we put our glue in. So I'm going to come inside here, and on this end here we're going to do the same things. So I'm just going to really be getting the paint out of here, guys. So I'm going to get all that done and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so we have our elevator and our rudders installed. As you can see here with our foam tack, again, where I took off a little much paint right there, I will go in and touch that up. But that looks really good. And again, just make sure that these are 90 degrees. I just kind of keep going back in and tweaking them a little bit. But yeah, that looks really good. So next thing that the manual calls for us to do, guys, is to come up underneath and install our clevises on the elevator. Now, personally, myself, again, as I said, I like to do that once I get my servos centered. So I won't be doing that right away. I will be waiting to do that last, more than likely, once I get the plane bound up and a receiver in it. So the next thing that our PDF manual here tells us to do, guys, is to install our, the turret covers, which are here, and our machine gun pieces, which are here. And in order to do that, we are instructed to, first of all, cut the, let me get that piece and I'll show you. This is the piece right here that they're referring to. Now, this had this back piece, it was all just one solid piece. So you just cut that off and it will go, basically it'll fall right into these lines here, which is an indentation, and that will sit in there like so. And once it's glued in with canopy glue, which I have, that'll be fine. And that'll look really good. And then of course, this piece will go on the nose here, and we'll put the guns in that. So first things that you want to do, as I said, is you want to come in here and you want to cut this part off so that you go to this line here. And then we're going to come over here, and it's telling us to drill the 2.5 millimeter holes through the turret to glue in place the dummy machine guns, which are these, and they are over here in our pack right here. So we'll be doing that next, and I will be right back as soon as I get that done and show you what I got. All right, guys, so what I've done here is I've come in, and this is the front gun turret. I don't know if you can see this, but I have put a couple of dots where I'm going to drill the hole. This is a 3/32 bit, guys, and we're going to put the hole right through here, and then the guns will come through, and we will glue them into the end of the plane. Let's try going from the back side. How about that? I think this will be better. Let's see, I'm trying to get this where you guys can see it good. Get over top of it here. It's funny, this thin plastic, and it does not want to go through there. Good. There's one, and then the other. All right, that's done. We've got our holes now. Let's just see if these will fit through here. They should, and then we can. And see, I don't know if you see this little bit of a burr on here. I'm going to come in here and try to twist that off as well, guys. Yeah, that works good. Just twist it off. Now we've got a clean hole there, and then I'm going to go through the back side of this with the gun. And yeah, that'll fit in there nicely. So yeah, once we get the other side put in and glued in, the canopy glue, we should be good on this, guys. So I just want to make sure all this fits. And again, it's called modeling, guys. You either love it or you don't. I tend to like it. So some of the stuff can be a little tricky, but yeah. So there's that. And once they get into place on the front of the plane, they're going to look really good. All right, so the next thing that the PDF asks us to do is to install the carbon rods through the wing and to put tape around the center of each rod. And that'll basically keep it from going through the center of the wing too far when we push it into the wing. And I've already got our spars taped here, as you can see in the center. This one goes to the rear of the wing. The longer one goes to the front of the wing. So we're going to get those installed and go from there. Okay, so as you can see, the tape prevents the spar from going too far into the wing, and it stops it. And then the other wing will go on here as well, and we will push it through the fuselage. Okay, you want to make sure you get all your wires in through the fuselage here. I'm going to reach down in here and grab those and pull them in. Making sure that we have them all, and we do, I believe. Nope, there's one more. Okay, now we have them all. So now we're going to push this wing half into place. Make sure our carbon spars are in place. That should be, I believe, as far as that one's going to go. Yes, and you will see down in here that there are, let me tilt this over this way. There are screw holes that our wing half will line up with down here, so we know we've got to come in further with this wing here to around there. And then that will take one of these wing screws we have here, and it will go down into here, and these are Phillips head. So let's see if we can't get that into there like so. And I will take this one out. This is the Phillips head, I believe, in here. Yes, it is. No, that's not the right one. This one is. I'm going to put it in here. Right now, we're going to come in here and we're going to get this screw started. Now I just want to make sure that's slid in pretty good there. There it is. It's in there. Now we're going to get this here pretty tight for this wing half. Get my other way. Okay, let's do the same thing with our other wing half. As you can see here, we're going to push it in and get it on the carbon spars here, as well as get our wires pushed through. So let's move this door up out of the way. Let's get these wires pushed through here. We have all our wires in. I believe they are. Let me just check. Not see anything here. There we go. In nicely. Now we have to get this piece down in here, lined up with the hole there, guys. Push it in tight. Get our other wing screw. Oh yeah, went right on in. All right, nice and tight. Okay, so now we're going to be feeding these wires through this hole, and then those ends here will be connecting to our UBEC, which is here. Those are the ends for that, and they're there. So I'm going to feed those through. This is where the battery will go, and the nose of the plane is going to sit right up in here. And again, this is our PDF manual, and this is what we're going by. All right, guys, so just a couple things to note here in putting on the clevises and control linkages on both sides for the ailerons and the elevator. Just a couple of things I want to point out in doing everything. Also, binding up. First thing I did was I noticed that these two motors came on fine. These two did not. So what I had to do was make sure that my receiver was set up first for a normal plane. Did that. Everything came on fine. But still did not have what I was looking for. So what I had to do was go in here and I had to calibrate the ESCs. And in order to do that, we all know how to calibrate. You put your throttle wide open, you plug in your battery, you'll hear a series of beeps. You pull your throttle back down, you'll hear another series of beeps. And then what I typically like to do is just unplug, turn off, turn back on, plug back in. And yeah, just to give you a quick, as you can see, sounds really good. Another thing to note with the props too is to make sure that the props are on the right wings. I had to take these props off and move them over here and vice versa because they were spinning in the wrong directions. The next thing that we're gonna get done is the differential thrust on this plane. Being that we do not have rudders for yaw, we are going to add differential thrust, which is how this plane needs to be set up so that you can control the plane from left to right. Also, which aids in not tip stalling in your turns. So next thing is that I want to point out, I have not gotten placement yet for everything that I'm going to have in here. Your battery will be all the way forward in this model. Again, this model will run off of a 3S 1400, will be great for it. Actually, I just have a battery pack laid in here. It's a 3S 2200, but I will also be taking that out and putting it in the proper pack. I've just got it up in here so that I can get everything working because I do not have the proper battery charged. That being said, this is your servo for your elevators. Also, you can loosen up this collar and move this linkage over here to adjust it and get it level with this one. That's done. Next thing that I would say to do was that for the steerable tail wheel, should you guys, not want this plane with gear or anything, this linkage in here, this rod moves this tail right here. As you can see, that's moving. What I think I'm going to do with mine, just to keep the tail in the center, especially for flight, is I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to probably foam tack this down or hot glue it down so that it cannot move. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and add some foam tack around this servo as well, just because, there's nothing really holding it but glue, I'm sure, down in here. So I'm just going to add a little more glue for a little bit of insurance there. So other than that, it's just a matter of getting everything placed, setting throws, and it's really looking good coming together. So I'm going to flip this over and I'll give you a look at it from the top side. All right, guys, so we have our differential thrust set up on this plane. I do have it turned off right now, so if I go left or right with the intended rudder movement, you see nothing, okay? But if I go with a little bit of throttle, you see that all four motors start turning. So now, if I come over to my gear switch on my radio, and when I flip it up, it says yaw, because that's what it's going to do. It's going to give me the capability to yaw this plane left to right. So now, if I give the stick movement of left or right, I'm going to give right, the right motors turn. If I give left stick, the left motors turn. If I just give up stick, now left, right. So you can hear your differences, guys. So basically, I'm gonna go back down with my gear switch.
Mix off.
That tells me the mix is off. Basically, what this is gonna do is gonna help yaw this plane left and right with aileron left and right, which is an awesome thing. Just be sure, typically when you take off with this airplane, I would say that you want to turn the thrust differential off just until you get in flight. Then you can flip it on. Also, I've used my throw meter to get all the dual rates and expos set up in this plane, and that's all good. I do have high, mid, and low rates. Now these, just to give you another look here, are your high rates for your ailerons and your low rates and your elevator high and low rates as well. Again, no rudder to have to do on this plane. So, other than that, this is high rates. Move this out of the way. This will be high rates. And if we go high, mid,
Rates, low rates.
so like I say, you can basically see that everything is working properly. Again, elevator low rates, elevator high rates. So everything's working. She's ready for the maiden. I have a 1300 milliamp pack in here, guys. CG and out well at around 55. The CG for this plane is between 50 and 60 from this leading edge. And again, I am at 55 with my pack basically where the manual shows. And again, I will show you that as well. Let's see if I can find that. Okay. So again, we have your CG, which is here, which is showing, you know, pretty much what I just told you, 50 to 60 back. And I wanted to show you, let's see, let me find this for you here. Okay, so if we come in here and I zoom in, this is pretty much the battery placement in the front of the nose, and that is pretty much where I have mine. If you see these two little pieces of foam here, mine is probably a ½ inch forward of that. This is the nose of the plane. So that's pretty much spot on for me, guys, at 55. So again, beautiful plane, easy build. Hope you guys like it. And hopefully we'll get a maiden in today for you. Stick around.
Looking good.
Down a little bit. Flying it in mid-rates, guys. Want to keep up the speed a little bit, guys, with this one. Come in for your land.
For about 3 seconds. That was pretty, man.
About a minute and a half left on a 5-minute timer, guys.